Hi guys, it's Erin back with another video about what I'm learning throughout my college journey. Today I'd like to talk about two of my favorite things, psychology and movies. I love movies as much, if not more, than the next person, but I have to recognize the significant impact of the industry behind some of my favorite films. In genres like horror, drama, and psychological thriller, psychology plays a huge role. Seeing characters with mental disorders can strike the audience from a range of two extremes, spiking their adrenaline from fear or inspiring in awe and empathy. The movie can either manipulate its mentally ill characters for plot purposes or use that story in an authentic and educational way. So you may be wondering, how can I know what I'm seeing on screen is true? Well, unless you have a degree in clinical psychology or stomached your way through med school, you really can't. However, there are plenty of online resources to check out about the specific mental disorder portrayed in the movie you saw, and/or reviews written by actual psychiatrists or clinical psychologists. I've compiled a few clips of psychiatrists doing just that, looking into some of my favorite movies and separating fact from fiction. The first clip is in review of the movie A Beautiful Mind and has been taken from GQ's video called Psychiatrist Breaks Down Mental Health Scenes from Movies and TV.
One thing that A Beautiful Mind did was it kind of correlated having schizophrenia and having a psychotic illness with having genius, or that he's a genius because of his schizophrenia. That's not the case. You're not going to become a genius because you have a psychotic illness like schizophrenia. He might have a high intellect and also have schizophrenia, but it's not the cause of it.
Dr. Eric Bender is highlighting a negative misconception about schizophrenia and how mental disorder can sometimes coincide with a stroke of genius or being an enlightened individual. However, there is no proven link between psychotic breaks and a higher intellect. In another clip from the same video, Dr. Bender highlights a positive portrayal of bipolar disorder, more specifically a manic episode.
This is a good depiction of a manic episode. A manic episode means that for about a week, someone has had increased energy with no need for a full night's sleep, maybe just a couple hours. They can be really elevated with their mood and they can be irritable. There's also a grandiosity, a sense of self-importance, possibly even doing things that are somewhat dangerous or reckless. And we're seeing him start to spiral into this manic episode here.
In Silver Linings Playbook, a common critique of the film was that the main character, Pat, never had a depressive episode. However, bipolar disorder does not necessarily require a depressive episode to receive a diagnosis. In a similar video, also called Psychiatrist Breaks Down Psychotic Episodes in Movies, also by GQ, Dr. Bender discusses violence as it relates to psychosis as depicted in the movie Shutter Island.
A colleague of mine had a 14-year-old boy who was psychotic, and the boy actually asked him, "So am I going to become a serial killer now?" That's not what we need to teach people, that because there's mental illness, there's violence. There are some states during which someone with mental illness could be prone to violence, but it's not because they're prone to being violent. They might be trying to defend themselves because of a delusional belief.
As he states, violence is not necessarily a direct result of mental disorder. However, many screenwriters expand on the fear of the unknown when it comes to mental illnesses and play it up for dramatization and entertainment purposes. While each of those depictions held some truths, the modifications could lead the audience to misunderstandings, which could ultimately hurt the community being depicted. Ways you could help prevent or soften any negative impact include doing your own research, going into the movie knowing not to take anything at face value, not letting what you see affect how you approach real people with those same disorders, treating all people with the same level of dignity and respect, and finally, a more confrontational approach could be publicly addressing any negative stereotyping you see in the movie you saw. With all that in mind, go back out into the theater and watch with confidence. Maybe even share tidbits you've learned with friends, or up your credibility by being able to spot any differences from reality.